All right, we are live here on Beam City Sports 96.5 FM KUBU Radio. This is your host, Tyler Texeira, here again with co-host Luke Mitchell. And how's the last week been for you, Luke?
Big chilling, man. Big chilling. Just enjoying the heat. Not really, but we here, Sacramento. How we doing?
Sacramento, let's get it popping. All right. And today, our topics for the show today are going to be some Olympic news to start off. Then the main topic of our show is going to be ranking every NBA team based on their future potential. And then we're going to close it out with some baseball like we always do.
Yep.
All right. And so we're going to start out with some Olympic news, like I said. And USA beat Brazil yesterday pretty easily in their qualifier to get into the Final Four.
Very easy.
Very easy. And the Final Four for the Olympic men's basketball is officially set. On Thursday, we will see USA play against Serbia, and then we will also see France play against Germany. So that is the Final Four.
Big rivalry right there, France and Germany.
Yeah,
I'm
big rivalry. For that one. Yeah, that'll be a good one. Germany is the champion last year of FIBA, so they're coming in ready. Also, some surprises from this is Canada is actually eliminated. They lost to France.
That game was that game was a little shaky for me, not going to lie. I mean, I was pulling for Canada, I will say that. I like their team a whole lot more. But I feel like the officiating was a little shaky. It looked like it. I don't know. France also had the home like right on their back. So they were cruising the whole game, kind of dominating the whole time.
Yeah, every game France has played so far, the crowd has been insane. The crowd for the USA games, they get hyped for everything, but it's a different story with France. Anytime any of their players do anything, the whole stadium is just rocking.
It's insane. Yeah, I wish it was kind of like that sometimes here in the US for NBA.
Yeah.
All the chants, everybody in the arena is chanting the same thing. And they're all together. So France definitely had the power behind them, and they kind of did look unstoppable in the game, unfortunately.
Yeah, and Wembanyama didn't even have a big game. It was a lot of their other guys out there. But
Evan Fournier
Fournier, NBA legend, went off, and he hit a half court at the end of the shot clock.
Kind of solidified the win there.
Yeah, that was the dagger, and it was crazy to see. Back to Canada, though, an NBA player that really struggled is Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
He struggled all Olympics, and there's been a lot of buzz around his name if he is just, kind of a Nikola Jokic merchant, only good because he plays with Jokic, and that's really the narrative around him right now.
Yeah, it's tough to say. And it's a different game for Olympic basketball versus NBA. The whole team basketball effort is a complete different aspect. I do think Jamal's still a great player. I think he's a top, probably 50 in the league, maybe 40.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think he's a merchant for Nikola.
Yeah, I don't either. That's really been the story around him, though. And so he went 3 for 13, only 7 points, and he really just struggled the whole Olympics. But playing with, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jamal didn't even start in that last game. So just kind of a different role for him. We'll see what he does when the season starts, if, he can quiet the buzz down about his name.
Yeah.
And the Nuggets really need him.
Oh yeah, definitely. With the Nuggets, they're at that point where they are a powerhouse of the West, but they're kind of fading out right now. They need to either step it up, as these vets just take control, or they need to add another piece for sure to help out.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, we'll jump to the USA versus Brazil. So the final score was 122-87, and Devin Booker led the way for USA. Great to see him finally, playing a lot better out
clicking.
There.
Yeah,
his shots are finally falling. He had 18 to lead the way, 5 for 7 from 3, and he's been a great role player for this team as well.
Yeah, like you said, it's good to see him back and get him into form. I will say the whole chemistry for this USA team is finally looking like they're knowing each other. Yeah. Obviously, they know each other in the NBA, but they're always playing against each other. So meshing them together right now, it always takes time to get the chemistry. But, you can see they're having a time of their life and all over Paris. So
yeah, you really can tell the chemistry is really coming together for this USA team. At the beginning, the offense looked janky out there.
Yeah.
It didn't look like they had a flow.
Yep.
And now they know what they're doing, and they let their guys like LeBron and Steph, all those guys, kind of set everyone else up and set the tone.
Braun had 7 assists, I think, in the first half.
Yeah.
Finished with 9, but first half, 7 assists. That's pretty awesome.
Just diming everyone out there. Anthony Edwards also came off the bench with 17. He is the leading scorer for this USA team so far in this Olympics. And, his word is coming true. He did say he wanted to be the number 1 option on this team.
Yeah.
Even though he's coming off the bench, he's still leading the team in scoring. So Anthony Edwards is really showing how big of a star he is on this big stage.
Yeah, no, it's exciting for that. I do want to talk about Embiid. Whenever he gets the ball, boos out of everywhere.
Every possession he gets.
I don't understand it. Like, I don't understand the hate, really.
It's because he could have played for France.
Oh, yeah.
And
okay.
he decided to play for USA.
Yeah.
So, that's really why.
He's played for Cameroon before. He played for US. Played for, I don't know.
Yeah, he just didn't want to join the France team because they already have Wemby and Gobert, and then that would be a lot of bigs out there.
A lot of playing time.
He would be the best, but crazy that he's on USA and he gets booed that much. Like every possession, and every time he hits a shot, he's like going in with the crowd, like, "Come on, keep the boos coming, let's go."
Yeah.
But I really haven't been that impressed with him, honestly. Last game he had a great game. But besides that, I think he's really been kind of a ball stopper this whole Olympics. He's the one guy who slows the whole pace down.
He's way slower than pretty much everybody on the court.
And he doesn't need to do all these. Every time he touches it, like, he just does like 3 jab steps in a row before he makes any sort of move, and it just really slows the offense down.
Yeah.
So that works for him in Philly because he's the main guy. Mm-hmm. But here, it really hasn't looked great. It hasn't really mattered for USA though.
It's too slow. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. KD's been a star as well so far in this Olympics. 11 points.
Just became the leading scorer in all U.S. Basketball, women's and men's.
Yeah. Yeah. He's just passing records each day. It's KD's really a USA legend. And Steph has really struggled in this Olympics. Only 7 points yesterday. Hasn't shot the ball great, but it seems like each game he has at least one play that you like remember.
Yeah,
like definitely. One play that'll stand out, like a highlight or something crazy.
Some look away 3 or some crazy dime.
Yeah. So, Steph's going to give you those moments, but I do expect a big game from him coming up, either against Serbia or if they beat Serbia in the championship game, either against France or Germany. Who out of these 3 teams do you think is the biggest threat to the U.S.? Serbia, France, or Germany?
I'm going to say Germany off the bat. They're the obviously last year 2023 FIBA champs. I think it would be a more exciting game for sure. I feel like France can put up a good fight against the U.S., but I think coming into the third quarter, the U.S. would just turn it up on them. Germany, I feel like, has that defensive aspect to hold the U.S. down to low scoring, as they did earlier in the U.S. Showcase games.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's France, honestly. I just think it's because of the size that they have, and they can match up with the USA size, because a lot of these games, USA has just been a lot bigger than all these other teams playing, AD and Bam off the bench together is really just dominated. But France has a lot of big guys, and they also have a lot of shooters. So
that is true.
If they get hot, I think they can make it a game. And, that guy, Victor Wembanyama, is a star.
And then I guess with the home crowd, it might help them out.
True. Yeah, that would be a great game to see. So I do hope it is USA versus France in the finals. But like you said, Germany is probably the real threat out there to beat USA.
Definitely.
We'll move on to the USA total medal count so far. It is 70 right now. They have 24 gold medals, 23 silver, 23 bronze. So USA leading the way.
I will say I'm pretty sure it's up now after today. I think the total medal count is actually at 90.
90, okay.
Yeah. Today, Noah Lyles won, or not today. He did win the heat that he was in. He's going to the finals for the 200 meter. Yeah. That's going to be, I believe, on Friday. But he did win the 100 meter for gold. Josh Hart tweeted out, people were kind of talking about Noah Lyles saying an NBA championship isn't world champions. Mm-hmm. But won that. Josh Hart tweeted out, he's just like, nah, he can talk however much he wants. He's a gold medalist.
He's a gold medalist, yeah.
And then shout out to Gabby Thomas, too, winning the 200 meter gold, too.
Yeah. So I don't know how to feel about this Noah Lyles thing, because he really just, disrespected the entire NBA pretty much. And I do think the best basketball talent in the world is in the NBA.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I'm not going to bash on that, but the whole, if the U.S. wins the Olympics, then maybe they are world champions of basketball. So that'll back that up.
True. But yeah, Noah Lyles. I've watched all his races. He's been killing. And that photo finish that he had the other day, that was
by like half of a millisecond.
That was really crazy to see. It seems like he always starts out slower though. Like he's always in the back in the beginning, and then at the end
he just explodes.
He pushes it at the end,
explodes.
And then he's the best in the world though. At the 100, 200, but yeah, I guess we'll jump into our main topic of the show today, which is ranking every NBA team based on their future. So we're going to be, ranking these teams by the players they have that are under 30 years old. So, guys like LeBron, Steph, all these older stars, Kawhi, they're not going to matter when we're ranking these teams. So we're just basing it off the youth, pretty much seeing
basing on the future.
Yeah, how good they will be in a few years.
Yep.
Let's jump right into it. My number one team, which I'm curious to see if you're going to have the same number one, is the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
That's your number one as well?
No, they're going to be scary for the years to come. They still have more draft picks in the first round that are going to be like lottery draft picks.
Yeah.
So I don't see them being a bad team, and I think they're going to win a championship within 5 years.
Yeah. Some of those young guys they have are Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, Lou Dort, Cason Wallace, Isaiah Joe, and the list goes on and on, honestly, with this team. They just have a ton of guys in their youth, in their prime. The only guy that's really above 30 on this team is their new pickup, Alex Caruso, who I think is really going to put them over the top in the West.
He doesn't act 31 on the court. Like he's still running around like a young buck.
Yeah, so, he's athletic. He's fast. And he's going to take over in that starting 2-guard spot for the Thunder. And I'm happy that we both have the same number one.
Yeah, definitely.
Pretty much consensus number one. All right, well, we'll move on to number two. My number two is the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Okay.
Who's your number two?
I have the Indiana Pacers up there, too.
Oh, wow. That's very high for the Pacers.
I like the Pacers team.
Yeah.
I like what they're building right now. Obviously, with Hallie, he's going to be able to run that team kind of perfectly.
Yeah.
It is relatively high, but I don't know. With how they did last year in the East, how crazy that obviously people call it a cakewalk, how easy they got into the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
But they still made it there. Like these people are in the NBA. They're still amazing players.
Yeah, and no one expected them to make it to the conference finals. So I do see why you put the Pacers higher. The Timberwolves also made the conference finals, so we both have young teams that made it far. But I just think Anthony Edwards puts the Timberwolves over the top because he's, that number one option.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know if Tyrese is really a number one option. He's definitely a guy you want to, lead your offense and
Agreed.
Distribute to everyone else on the floor.
I still think I feel like the Pacers have reminiscence of, in the future, something like the early 2000s Sacramento Kings. How it's just all hardcore team ball. Like they didn't need one person to stand out like a star. Like obviously Chris Webber was our scorer, but he silently scored 25 points a game.
Yeah, and they had a bunch of other guys. But the Pacers had one of the best offenses ever last season when Tyrese was healthy. They had the best offense of all time, statistic-wise. But some of their other guys, like they still have Miles Turner, Andrew Nembhard, Benedict Mathurin, Aaron Nesmith, who ended up starting for them in the playoffs, making big minutes out there. But I still think the Timberwolves have a brighter future. They have Karl Anthony Towns, Naz Reid, still only 25. Yeah. Their guy Jaden McDaniels. And the two rookies they got, Rob Dillingham.
Rob Dillingham is gonna make that team a whole lot better.
Yeah, I do think. And there another guy is Terrence Shannon Jr., who went crazy in the summer league, who no one really thought was going to be.
Yeah, he was a kind of a dark horse.
Yeah, late first round pick for them, and he averaged like 25 in the summer league, and he's dunking on people. He can shoot it, so they got some good young guys over there in Minnesota.
I will say the T-Wolves aren't too far back on the list for me. They're actually right behind. They're at number 3 for me.
Okay, so they're number 3 for you. I do like that. I had to put the Celtics number 3. Dang,
that's up high, man.
That is high based on the fact that they only have of their guys under 30 are only Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Porzingis is 29, so he barely fits under there. Yeah. And then they just got like Peyton Pritchard and some other bench guys that are not really going to play too much. So
yeah, I don't see them. Obviously they're going to be great for the next few years to come, but in 5 years to 6 or 7 years, I see them kind of falling off with the with the new NBA, with how young and fast everything is.
Yeah,
I don't think they'll be able to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Celtics are going to be good for years to come, even if they end up losing, a Derek White or a Drew Holiday or a Porzingis or anything like that, just because they have their two guys who are young and, in their prime right now, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. I think if you put the surrounding pieces around them, that they will definitely be up in the East every year and potentially win the championship multiple more times.
Okay.
But yeah, so you had the Timberwolves number 3, right?
Timberwolves number 3.
Okay. I had a team number 4 who was just in the finals as well. The Dallas Mavericks. I have number 4.
Wow.
Really based on just one or two guys.
Just Luka, really.
Just Luka putting him over the top. He's only 26 years old. And Luka. So who's your number 4 then? Who's your number 4?
I have the Grizzlies at number 4.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Grizzlies. They're coming up for me. They're not too much lower. But.
I think the Grizzlies there at number 4 are with Ja only 25 years old and Jaren Jackson Jr. 25. Kind of insane with those two guys. I think they will be kind of stars of the league coming up. Obviously, Ja, people thought he was going to be the new face of the league and everything. I still think he has a chance to kind of take over there and go be like a top 5 player in the next few years. And just everybody that's around them as a just young Zach Edey, obviously great player coming in. I don't think he's going to be a star, but I think he's going to be a piece that they're going to utilize a bunch. And then,
I definitely
Scottie
agree.
Pippen Jr. too.
Yeah,
he's
underrated, and he played really good in the summer league as well. In the G League, he lit it up last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, Scottie Pippen, and when he got a chance in the league as well, he really made a name for himself, and he's probably going to stay in the NBA on this Grizzlies team. So I do like that pick, but I just think Dallas has their top 2 guys, like I said, Luka, Derek Lively. I think they just put him over the top. They also have guys like Jaden Hardy down there, Quentin Grimes, so they just picked up. But I just think Luka, you don't need much around him to be a top team in the West or make it far in the playoffs. Like, I don't think you need the perfect team around him. He's just that good.
I don't think he can carry a team all the way to the finals. I think they need a lot more to kind of push that over. Kyrie being there, 33, obviously helps with ball handling and everything, getting up the court. Luka doesn't really need help with that, anyways. But I don't see their young people getting up and helping them out right now.
Yeah, you're right. They don't have a lot of good role players that are younger, but I just think, like I said, Luka just is that good of a star to put him over the top. Kind of like how I had the Celtics number 3. Kind of had to stay true to that, theory that I have where if they're a top 5 player in the league, that they deserve to be up in these rankings.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of disagree with that.
Yeah.
I feel like in today's league, you can't be a star player and run a team all the way to the finals.
Yeah, true. So, I mean, a team like the Grizzlies, who you had, where'd you have the Grizzlies again?
Number 4.
Number 4. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, they do have a lot of guys. They also have Gigi Jackson, who was the youngest player in the league last year.
Didn't even mention that.
And he is a scorer. He's a straight up scorer. He's like almost 6'10", and he can do it all. But let's move on to number 5.
Yep.
Number 5 is our beloved.
The Sacramento Kings, baby.
We both have the Kings at number 5.
Yes, sir.
Sabonis is 29. He's getting up there in age, but De'Aaron's still 27.
27.
You got Keegan at 24.
Keegan is so young.
Keon Ellis, 25. And their rookie, who I'm really banking on to be a great player in this league, Devin Carter. And that's why I had them higher in the rankings in some of these teams, is the potential that I see in him.
Devin Carter's, I think he was a dark horse of the draft. Yeah. For sure. Like a real dark horse of the draft.
A lot of NBA articles and stuff are really putting the Kings out as one of the winners of the draft this year. Getting that guy at 13 is crazy. He was projected to be top 10. And
Keon's only 25 too. I love Keon Ellis. And then I love Boogie Ellis, the guy that we also brought up. Yeah. I think he's going to be a great role player for us that can fill in some scoring off the bench for sure.
Yeah, he's a defender as well in the summer league. Doug Christie loved having him play under him and
tenacious.
Get out there and just hustle and do everything right. But yeah, we both have the Kings at 5. That's kind of surprising, but it was kind of biased for me personally to put them over a team that I have a number 6, which is the New Orleans Pelicans.
You have the Pelicans. Okay.
I have the Pelicans number 6. It's hard to put the Kings over them, especially after last year. Yeah. Losing 6 games to the Pelicans last year. True. So, but I think that they just have a lot of questions. They have a lot more question marks than the Kings do. They have their 4 guys: Zion, DeJounte Murray, who they just traded for, Brandon Ingram, who's kind of a question mark right now. Herb Jones, who's a great defender, starts at the 2 guard for them. And then Trey Murphy, who is still off the bench for them. They're looking to trade Ingram to put him in the starting lineup.
That's the thing. Like it's kind of a lot of question marks for
They
them.
do.
So like
but
I can
they
see
still
this
have
team.
so much talent. I
They
think.
do.
Yeah.
And at the moment, I probably should have them up higher on my list, but at the moment, like I look at this team, I don't see it staying together for very long.
Yeah.
I kind of see it falling apart. I see some trade packages for sure on this team that they could send out and get a different star player to help Zion.
Yeah, and it is always tough with Zion. He's pretty much getting hurt every year, so it's hard for him to stay on the floor. Who'd you have at number 6, though?
Number 6, I have the Knicks.
Wow.
The New York Knicks.
Okay, with their new pickup of Mikal Bridges.
Yep.
And, Jalen Brunson also just got named the captain of the New York Knicks.
Obviously, it's a little tough with how many picks they traded away.
Yeah.
So, like, that's definitely going to hurt them. But I see the Knicks being a real contender over in the Eastern Conference for sure.
Yeah, I do agree. I think this year, in the next 3 years, it's kind of their window for
sure.
that championship or finals run or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But they still have they have their core guys that are under 30, like Jalen Brunson, Mikal.
Also picking up OG Anunoby, that helps out.
Yeah, Dante DiVincenzo as well. When he lit it up last year from 3.
Oh yeah.
The things he talked about,
sleeper for sure.
After him playing with the Warriors, he said he learned so much from Steph, and he's really shown that. Last year was 3rd or 4th in the league in threes.
Yeah.
So
I'm surprised Josh Hart's 30. That's kind of insane too.
He's still going to be there though.
He's
I think
still,
he can make an impact.
Definitely.
But I think a team like the Pelicans just has more young talent. Like Trey Murphy is some guy that I'm really high on. Trey Murphy. I think he's gonna, if they trade Ingram, I think he can average 20 points or more for this Pelicans team.
Yeah.
But he just needs the opportunity. Whenever Ingram's hurt and he starts, he plays really well, and that's why the Pelicans are so eager to trade Ingram.
Yeah, I remember going to, I think I was at 2 of the Pelicans games when they were here in Sac. I was the first game, got blown out. I was like, all right, next time we got it.
Yeah.
Showed up, and it was a better game, but Trey Murphy lit us up a lot.
Yeah. So you have the Knicks at number 6. You said I have the Pelicans at number 6.
Yeah.
Let's move on to number 7. I have the Orlando Magic at my number 7. I wanted to put them higher.
I need to put them higher.
Yeah.
I have them kind of low on my list right now. I kind of want to agree with you on that. I had the Rockets right here at number 7.
I did like the Rockets as well.
But I feel like I kind of disrespect the Magic. I had them down at 13. So, I mean, I'm kind of conflicted here. The Magic are kind of a scary team over in the East with how young everything. Paolo Banchero, like, he's going to be nuts. I think he might be a top 10 player in the league at some point for sure.
Yeah. Give it a year or two. I agree with you. I think he can be top 10 in the league. Yeah. Also, Franz Wagner, who we're seeing on Germany, playing very well. Jalen Suggs, also another guy who's just a great defender, also can shoot it from 3. But they do kind of need they need a point guard, and that's what they're missing.
Yeah.
They're kind of hoping on their young guys like Anthony Black, who they drafted last year, who was top 5 in the draft, didn't have a great rookie year, to maybe be that point guard for the future for them.
Yeah.
But I love their young core. Also, they drafted a rookie who I was really high on, Tristan Da Silva, someone who I wanted the Kings to get if they didn't get Devin Carter, which I'm way happier with Devin Carter. But Tristan Da Silva is a very solid NBA. He's going to be a very solid NBA player, and he's an older rookie, so he'll be ready to make an impact on day one.
Yeah, having that experience, like going into the league, already knowing like how to be a team player like that, gives you a huge advantage for sure.
It really is. They compared him to Keegan Murray a lot, so watch out for him in Orlando.
Love that.
But I did have the Grizzlies at my number 8.
Okay.
Who'd you have in your number 8?
I have the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah.
The San Antonio. I mean, they're always a team that's kind of building on something, no matter what. And they weren't really in the mix last year. They struggled quite a bit. But with what they added, I don't know. I feel like the Spurs are going to be good, like a really solid team. I think they'll be back up in the top 6 in maybe 5 years.
Yeah, I definitely think their time is coming for sure.
Yeah.
The Spurs, I had them at number 12. But I do love their rookie, Stephon Castle. I think I've said it.
I was pretty hyped for that.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the best rookie out of this draft class, especially in the first year, playing behind Chris Paul. He's going to learn a lot, and obviously playing with Wembanyama, who's you can just throw him the ball anywhere. He's going to go get
insane.
it. Yeah. Also, guys like Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, who they're kind of looking to move. Keldon Johnson's a very solid player, but they're looking to move him.
Yeah, he hasn't really worked. I mean, he's been there for a few years now.
Yeah.
And he, I see him getting traded. They need to pick up a little bit more help for him. I obviously had Harrison Barnes on that team too.
That does help.
That's going to help a lot.
Yeah, especially for this year. But we're kind of talking more on the future.
The future. Yeah.
But yeah, I had the Spurs low just because they don't have too many guys. But I do see why you put him above, just because Wemby is that good of a player, and he will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, it kind of contradicts what I said earlier, but I see him being one of those players where he's just a centerpiece, and they put a few good players around him.
So I agree with that. But number 9, I had the Houston Rockets.
Okay.
Who I wanted to put higher as well, but it was just really hard to put him above a team like Dallas, who has Luka, and the Rockets don't really have their number one guy set in stone right now.
Yeah.
It's kind of Alperen Sengun, who I love as well. I was big on him coming into the draft. He plays like Sabonis, but a little more flashy.
A little bit more flashy.
Yeah.
He's a bit more slimmer, obviously, so he doesn't have the size to kind of back down, but he does have that flashiness where he's a little bit more maneuverable in ways.
Yeah. But their young core they are stacked in the young core department. They have Jalen Green, who's still only 23 years old.
Yeah.
Jabari Smith Jr., only 22.
Smith.
Last year, their rookie, Amen Thompson, who had a very good rookie year, who's only 22. Tari Eason, Cam Whitmore, who I have big expectations for as well. I think Cam Whitmore can really thrive, and he can maybe become the number one guy on this Rockets team in a few years. I think he has that big of a potential to step up and lead this team in scoring. He wants to score the ball. He's not someone who's going to pass the ball.
Yeah,
he's a scorer. He's a straight scorer. And then, of course, a rookie, Reed Shepherd, who I'm really big on as well.
I was a fan of Reed Shepherd. Watching him in Summer League, big fan of Reed Shepherd.
He was the best rookie in Summer League by far.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Rockets, they also have AJ Green, who's a very solid player.
Yep.
But yeah, they have a ton of young guys. I had them way higher, but I had to move them back just based on the star potential. Like the Grizzlies have John Morant, so they're going to be above the Rockets.
There.
But I think give the Rockets a few more years, and they could pick up someone in free agency coming up.
Definitely.
Yeah. Jimmy Butler's rumored to go there. But we're going to go to our first break. Come back in a few minutes for Beam City Sports on. We are back on Beam City Sports. This is 96.5 FM on KUBU Radio. And this is, again, your host, Tyler Texeira, with Luke Mitchell. And,
howdy.
Yes, sir. And, we've been going over the NBA teams ranked by the potential of their future. And my number one team, Luke's number one team, was Oklahoma City Thunder. We both agreed on that.
Yeah.
My number 2 was the Timberwolves, 3 Celtics, 4 Mavericks, 5 Kings, 6 Pelicans, 7 Magic, 8 Grizzlies, and then I just said 9, the Houston Rockets. What was your 1 through 8 so far?
I had the Thunder at 1. I had the Pacers at 2, Timberwolves at 3, the Grizzlies at 4, the Kings at 5, Knicks at 6, Rockets at 7, Spurs at 8, and for me, 9 was Jazz.
Yeah,
I like the Utah Jazz team.
Okay, and we did just see Lauri Markkanen get a big extension this morning.
Still only 28.
Yeah.
I think he's a great leader of that team for sure. Colin Sexton, great point guard. Always loved him. Loved him on Cavs when it was Garland and him, the Sex Plan. Man, that was tight.
That was.
John Collins, obviously. I wanted him on the Kings. I kind of wanted him after when the trade rumors were going down with the Hawks. I kind of wanted him to come over here and help out. Wasn't really the size we needed, but it would have been tight. And then Walker Kessler, too, 23 years old. He's a great young player.
Yeah.
And then they have 3 rookies coming up. Cody Williams, who I'm a fan of. I saw him playing Summer League, and he was really good.
He is really good. And Isaiah Collier, who was supposed to be a top 10 pick before the college year started. I've always heard his name from high school and all that. So he could be really good as well. And their center they drafted, Kyle Filipowski. Who also a lot of teams are really high on.
Yeah.
So I do like that you have the Jazz high. I had them really low though.
Okay.
Just based on I don't think that Lauri is going to be there for this whole contract. I do think they're probably going to end up moving him still in the year.
I think the contract that he signed, he's untradeable.
Until about February. He can't be traded.
It was for 2 seasons.
He can't be traded till February. I don't know if they'll move him this year. Maybe if they're having they're low in the standings, they could buy into that tank and go.
That's true.
But I did have them way lower than that. But I I like that you put him higher. They do have a really good young core. They also have Keontae George, who was really good in his rookie year last year. But my number 10 was the New York Knicks, the team you were high on.
Yeah.
And like we already talked about them a lot. They have like a lot of young guys. We didn't mention Miles McBride as well earlier, who was really good in the playoffs for them last year, still only 24 years old. So, your number 9 was Jazz. My number 9 was the Rockets. And then I said my number 10 was the New York Knicks. Who's yours?
I have the Detroit Pistons at number 10.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I like how much you're buying into these young young cores.
I like the young cores.
Yeah.
I like if we're talking about the future, we're looking back on this in 5 years. I think I'm gonna be winning this list right here.
Yeah. I am kind of going more of like, I don't know, the role players that they have now. And they are still young, but I do. I think Pistons are a good one. I had them number 14 actually.
I will say like Cade Cunningham. That's he's a great player, but he still needs to take that next step to kind of leading a team, being a captain.
True.
Jaden Ivey, who I was kind of a fan of going into the draft when we were a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad we didn't draft him.
Very happy.
Very happy we did not draft him.
Yeah.
And he also was hating on Sacramento. He said he didn't want to come play here.
Yeah.
So at that point, I said pish posh. But
you'd rather go to Detroit than Sacramento?
Really, dude?
Why? I don't get it. But he's not been great.
He hasn't been great.
Keegan is the guy we picked over him.
Yeah, very
so
happy
we got
that.
Keegan as well.
But then we also got to talk about Azur Thompson. I think he's going to be a great player for sure.
He had a great rookie year. I think if he can learn to shoot the ball just a little bit,
exactly,
he's going to make a huge impact.
Yeah.
Also, their rookie that they got, Ron Holland. Was
yep.
supposed to be the number 1 pick before this year started.
Yep.
Saw him playing the G League last year. But he's got a lot of potential.
Yeah,
he's got a lot of potential.
Also going to say Isaiah Stewart, their power forward, I believe. He's a great presence down low and can actually disrupt a whole lot on the defensive side.
Yeah, he's one of those tough, rough guys. The Kings are actually rumored to get him.
Yeah,
I don't know how much I love it.
I would kind of be a fan of it.
Yeah,
I think he would fit well.
Some more size, more toughness.
Exactly.
Kings kind of do need that.
We need that.
Yeah. But so you had them at number 10.
Yeah.
I had the Knicks. I had number 11. I had the Indiana Pacers, who you were very high, and you had them number 2.
Yes, I did have them number 2.
Yeah, I did have them higher, and then I ended up moving them around because, I don't know, like I said, I don't believe Tyrese can be the number 1 guy. I still think they need kind of another guy.
Understandable.
Right now, they have Pascal Siakam as kind of their leading scorer that they want to go to, but he's getting up there in age. So I do love all their role players, though, like you said. They do have a deep team.
They're a deep team. Coming off the bench, they scored no matter what.
Yeah.
I think they have 2 or 3 players that were averaging around close to 12 or 13 points off the bench, something like that.
And Benedict Mathurin is someone I'm really high on as well. Probably as like a 6 man for them. Can really come in and give them some energy, light it up from
Big
3.
help.
Yeah. But so your 11 was
the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, sticking with the young core. Omfrey Simmons, I was a big fan of him last year when he came here to. I saw them play Sacramento.
Yeah, Anthony he's really good.
Yeah, no, Anthony. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
And then Scoot Henderson, obviously kind of a disappointment last year. Shannon Sharp. Sharp was a disappointment last year for him. And then Scoot Henderson, I think he's going to break out at some point. And then I'm a big fan of Donovan Clingan too. Getting him up there, they draft I don't know, everything's going right for him right now after these past few years where they've kind of been down in the dumps after losing Damian Lillard and everything. And Chris Murray, hopefully he can break out too, Keegan's brother.
I do see him being a solid NBA player. He's exactly like Keegan, just left-handed.
Exactly like Keegan.
If he gets more opportunity, I do think he can provide a lot.
Can't shoot as well as Keegan.
Maybe
Keegan,
not as well.
Yeah.
But they still have DeAndre Ayton, who is a big question mark for them after drafting one of the best centers in this draft, Donovan Clingan, who teams really wanted. He was projected to go number 1, fell to them at number 7, and they kind of just had to take him, even though they don't need a center with Ayton. They still took the best guy available, and maybe they can move Ayton in the future.
I don't see Ayton going anywhere. I think he'll be their solid center for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also got Denny Avdia from Washington, who I'm really high on. A big fan. He was pretty much the best player on Washington last year, and no one really expected that. He could score, and he's one of the best defenders in the league already. So Yeah, I had Portland at 15 though. I had them in the middle of the pack, exactly middle of the pack. But they do have a good young core, like you said. But my number 12 was the San Antonio Spurs, who we've talked about. So you're higher on these teams that I'm kind of middle in the pack of. Yeah.
I got the Nets right there at 12.
Wow, I was really, really low on the Nets. Damn. I want to hear why you have them high.
Again, the young core, and then also they have a lot of draft picks. I guess I was building my list based off of what they have, like in assets, and and like partially on their players right now.
Okay.
But I see them kind of doing their normal rebuild thing and get back up top. Obviously, they've kind of struggled quite a bit, but then back in like the D'Lo days, I was a big fan of that team. Man.
That was a fun team to watch. Yeah. But I'm not really high on the Brooklyn Nets. I have them number 28, actually. Third to last.
That's interesting.
But just because they don't really have any guys that they're going to build around, they don't really have anyone on this team that is really set in stone to build around.
I guess that does make sense. Yeah,
they're really banking on Ben Simmons, who is coming back this year. We say that every year to have a big year, back to his all-star potential. But I don't really see that happening, honestly. And their main guy for me is Cam Thomas, who's 23, and he's just a certified bucket.
Yeah.
But I do see him as more of a six-man on a good team and making an impact that way. So I was really low on the Nets. So I am surprised to see you have them this high. But
I mean, now you're making me rethink it all. No. I'm like, damn, why did I have them so high?
Yeah,
what the hell?
Yeah. I mean, they just.
No, I gotta change that.
It'll give them a few years.
I gotta change that.
Maybe in 5 years they'll get a number one pick.
I'm gonna move the Pelicans. You give me some thought about Pelicans. Yeah.
We can move on still. I had 13. I had the Atlanta Hawks, number 13. Yeah. They still have Trae Young, 26 years old. Jalen Johnson, who really broke out last year as a star, 23 years old. They felt confident enough to move on from DeJounte Murray with Jalen Johnson, coming onto the scene like this. Also, Onyeka Okongwu at their center position. And they also had the number one pick in the draft this year, Zachary Richardson, who no one really is talking about.
No one's hype on him at all.
Yeah.
I'm not too familiar with his game. Obviously, I've only seen him play in the summer league and just the just the summer league.
Yeah.
But I feel like they'll be a good fit with Trae Young. That he'll be a good fit with Trae Young. But
I do too.
I also don't think Trae Young will be there for a long time.
Yeah, if the Hawks kind of have a down year, this might be Trae Young's last year in Atlanta.
Yeah,
the writing's kind of on the wall.
Yep.
The rumors are that he's going to request a trade to the Spurs to play with Wemby.
That would be kind of.
And who knows? The Spurs. The only pushback on that is the Spurs system wouldn't love Trae Young.
Yeah.
Just because he doesn't really play defense.
He doesn't play defense.
At
all.
He needs the ball. He doesn't really move off the ball.
I don't think Popovich would like to coach him either.
Yeah.
He plays too like cheeky and annoying plays.
Wants fouls every
exactly.
Like he leads in. Yeah.
Free throw merchant.
Maybe Popovich could help him though. If he does get traded, because I do think the Hawks are going to kind of have a bad year.
I don't want Popovich to play with him. I like Popovich too.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, so I had the Hawks 13. Who was your 13?
I got the Magic. You had them a little bit higher.
I did have them high.
I do. I mean, I kind of wanted to move them up, but I kept them there. Obviously, we talked about them before, but I think Paolo is going to kind of be their leading player for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Paolo as a future star in this league. Also, they have really good surrounding pieces for him. Mm-hmm. So, and they just picked up KCP. So I think they're gonna have a big year this year.
They'll be good.
Yeah, this year.
Cole Anthony too. I always forget about Cole Anthony. He's a dog.
He plays really well off the bench for them. He's one of the only guys last year that could shoot from three. Mm-hmm. Not this year with the pickups that they made, but last year he really helped them out a lot. But so I had the 14. I had the Detroit Pistons, who we talked about. Who was your 14?
I have the Washington Wizards.
Wow. Okay.
14.
Pretty high on the Wizards. I had them 19, but I did love their offseason. Honestly, I did.
Yeah.
They drafted Alex Sarr with the number 2 pick.
I feel like he's going to be a little bit better than Zachary Ricochet.
Yeah.
I don't know. I remember when I was when we were a bit younger, when I was hating on the Kings and everything.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I'm gonna be a Wizards fan.
Yeah.
I'm deciding to be a Wizards fan.
That was the first time I ever heard that.
And then I realized that they were always down in the dumps. So I mean, I did become a big John Wall fan from that point.
You always love John Wall.
John Wall, yeah. I love those type point guards.
Yeah.
But I mean, Kuzma, like he's a great scorer. I don't think he's really able to lead a team like for anything.
Definitely not.
And then Jordan Poole.
I'm really high on Jordan Poole.
I like Jordan Poole, but
I'm really high on Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
I really
he did get done dirty. Like,
yeah. Last year he had a horrible year as well.
Exactly. If he can come out of his slump from last year, then maybe I give him a little bit more potential. But I still think Kuzma is like their number one, like for
right
pretty
now.
Much everything. Yeah.
I am really high on their guy, Corey Kispert. Shout out to my boy Sebastian out in London, who is the biggest Wizards fan I've ever met.
Damn.
So got to put on for him. He's from Maryland, so he's always been a Wizards fan. Last year, we watched almost every Wizards game together.
Damn.
And they went on
a rough season,
almost
then.
a 20-game losing streak at one point. But he's a loyal fan, and he's really high on Corey Kispert, and so am I. And he's one of the best shooters in the league already. At 26 years old, Corey Kispert is, I would say, a top 10 shooter in the league.
Wow, that's surprising.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, really high on their guys, Bilal Coulibaly, who was a rookie last year. Really had a great rookie year. And, the two guys they drafted outside of Alex Sarr, Bub Carrington, who's going to be the youngest player in the league this year, and Keyshawn George, who is he's a really solid wing out there. Saw him in Summer League play very well. But Bub Carrington really impressed me in the Summer League, and he was leading that Wizards team as the youngest guy out there. He was the vocal leader, and he was making things happen on the court. He can shoot, and he can handle. So I think he's going to end up taking over that starting point guard spot for them this year.
There you go.
Yeah.
I love that. That's pretty. Being a 20-year-old kind of taking over like that, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was crazy to see how much he was talking on the bench to all these other guys, and I'm really high on this team for the future. Not obviously this year.
Yeah,
I do think they're gonna have a few more years in the dumps.
A few more years. Yeah, it takes time for any rebuilding franchise.
Yeah, but hopefully Jordan Poole can get back to that all-star potential that he used to have.
I know. Yeah, it's just seeing him get done dirty by the Warriors and everything. I feel bad for him for sure.
Yeah. So 14, I had the Pistons. 15, I had the Trailblazers. We talked about them.
Yeah.
Who was your 14 and 15?
The Wizards at 14, and then 15, I got the Nuggets at 15.
Okay, so the Denver Nuggets, I did have them lower. I had them number 18 on my list.
Okay.
No Jokic in this consideration, obviously. Yeah. They still have Jamal Murray, who's 28.
Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon. Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah, MPJ is 27. It feels like he's a little younger than that, but he's still a very solid player. The question marks for them, though, is MPJ going to be the piece that's moved?
Is he going to be able to? Yeah, that's the thing.
That's the only guy that they can really trade for, someone valuable back.
Yeah. I will say Christian Braun, I think, is going to gain some more trade value for sure.
Yeah.
If they need to trade anybody. I think he's going to break out next year even more.
Yeah, I agree. He's going to be starting for them.
He's going to have more minutes now that KCP's gone. So I think he's going to be a big option for them for sure next year.
Yeah.
And then Darren Holmes, too, having that pickup for them. It's kind of a late pick for
backup
them.
Center for Jokic. They didn't really have a very good backup center before that.
I think that's a great pick. He obviously was in college for quite a while. So, he has that experience on the court.
And someone else two guys on their bench that are really young still, and I think this year are going to have to play major roles if the Nuggets want to be a dominant team, is Peyton Watson, who comes off the bench for them, and he's just an impactful athletic defender.
Yeah.
He was one of the top shot blockers from the guard position last year, coming off the bench in limited minutes.
That's impressive.
Every time I saw him play, he'd get a block.
That's impressive.
Every single time I saw the Nuggets play, he would get at least one block.
So you're saying put the over on his blocks.
Over on Peyton Watson blocks all year.
All right.
And Julian Strother, who is a name a lot of people probably haven't heard of, but I think he is a great scorer off the bench for them, and he reminds me a lot of Jordan Poole in those Warriors days. So if he gets more opportunity this year, he can make a big impact for them. Yeah. So 15, you said that was
the Nuggets.
That was the Nuggets. 16 for me, I had the Cleveland Cavaliers, who I wanted to put a little higher, but I just don't think they have a lot of solid guys down in that lineup after Donovan and Mobley. Darius Garland probably going to get traded eventually.
Yeah.
But who'd you have at 16?
They're going to be shot. The Celtics are at 16 for me.
Yeah.
I had to come up eventually. Again, if we're talking about down the road for these teams. I do see them still being great players and a great team, but they're going to have to make a big change for sure if they want to stay in contention with the same core that they have right here.
Yeah. We'll move on. 17, I had the Charlotte Hornets. I'm just going to say 17 through 20. So this Hornets at 17, have the Denver Nuggets like we talked about at 18, Wizards at 19, and the Toronto Raptors were my number 20.
Okay.
So who was your 17 through 20?
17 through 20 for me. I got the Mavs at 17.
Yeah.
I got the Pelicans at 18. But I wanted to switch them up, put them up
higher.
Yeah. And then the Suns at 19 and the Warriors at 20.
Yeah. So you're higher on the Warriors than I am. We can talk about them for a sec. Their young core is Jonathan Kuminga, Brandon Bajemski, Trace Jackson Davis, and Moses Moody. Also a guy lower on that bench is Guy Santos, who's also playing for Brazil right now as one of their best players, who I actually interviewed, I think, 4 times when he played with the Santa Cruz Warriors last year. He's really, really cool dude. About 6'10", can shoot it, can dribble. In the G League, he looked like a star. But yesterday, watching him against the Team USA when he was on Brazil,
wasn't looking too hot.
Yeah, he got dunked on by AD pretty bad.
Oh,
that was him.
Dunk.
That was him.
The putback was nuts.
But yeah, I interviewed him multiple times at Santa Cruz. So that was really, really crazy to see him out there. But yeah, I do think he can be a solid player as a role player for them. But I'm not really high on this Warriors young core.
Again, like they don't really have that star player to take him to the next level in the future. Like, I mean, Steph is going to be out pretty soon. Draymond said he's probably going to retire in 2 years.
Yeah.
And Wiggins isn't that star player really to kind of hold him up.
Yeah, Wiggins has really fallen off a cliff since that 2022 run.
Yeah.
They really need him to get back on track. But Jonathan Kuminga is really the only guy that can be a number one option with this young core. And I'm not sure how confident I am in that. A lot of Warriors fans are predicting him to be an all-star this year. I want to know what your thoughts are on that. I mean,
obviously with fan voting, he's going to be put up there no matter what. And there's going to be a lot of those people that don't deserve to be up there. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying he's not going to have a good year, but I think with how many bandwagon Warriors fans there are, he's going to be put up there no matter what.
Yeah, in the fan voting probably, but in the West is just stacked.
The West is stacked.
So it's going to be really hard for him to make
if Sabonis doesn't make it or De'Aaron doesn't make it this year, dude. Like
Sabonis made all NBA third team last year and didn't make an all-star game.
He led the league in second in triple doubles, led the league in double doubles.
All that, yeah.
I'm getting my blood boiling again, man.
So yeah, we're not too high on this Warriors young core.
Yeah.
So I had them at 21. I had the Bulls at 22.
Okay.
And the Jazz at 23. Who was your next 3?
I got the Bulls at 21. I got the Cavs at 22, and I got the Raptors at 23.
Okay. Let's just list off the rest of our teams and get into some baseball to close out. My 24 was the Miami Heat. 25, 76ers with no Embiid. They don't have too many young guys. 26, the Phoenix Suns. For me, only Devin Booker really as a young guy on this team. He's already 28, so he's getting up there. And 27, I had the Los Angeles Lakers. Not too many young guys. Dalton Knecht coming in as a rookie. Bronny James also coming in. We'll see what they do.
Yeah.
28, I had the Nets. 29, I had the Milwaukee Bucks. And 30, I had the Los Angeles Clippers. So let me hear your 20 through 30. Again,
I had the Warriors at 20, Bulls at 21, the Cavs at 22. I put the Clippers are at 30.
Yep.
I have the Heat at 23, the Hornets at 24. And then
yeah, it's all good. So a lot of these teams,
the Sixers at 25.
Yeah, we pretty much have the same bottom.
We have the same bottom teams right here.
Just because a lot of their guys right now are older and they don't want to build for the future. They're really all built on right now. The Sixers are not the 25th worst team in the league, but because they're built for this year.
They're not going to.
In the future, though, if they do end up losing like an Embiid and they only have Maxey to build around, I am high on Jared McCain though. Coming out of Duke, I think he's going to be really solid for them. But yeah, anything else on this NBA list that we had before we move on to some baseball to close out?
No, I'm excited to do more stuff like this.
Yeah,
actually,
some rankings.
I like some tier lists.
Yeah. All right. So for the last 5 minutes of the show, we will talk MLB baseball and our Oakland A's, who next year will be the Sacramento A's.
Hell yeah.
Let's keep them in Sac. They had their first winning month in July in the last 2 years.
Ouch.
They had a winning record in July, and they since July 2nd they are 16-12, which is tied for the third best in the MLB. So they've been playing really good baseball.
They gotta step it up. I will say they're doing great right now, but
Yeah.
they gotta turn it up a notch if they're gonna make it back in the wild card race for sure.
Yeah, they're still 16 back of the wild card, so it's looking.
It's grim.
It's not
It's
looking
very grim.
but it is exciting.
But
to
I
see
like
these
to
young
keep
guys.
the hopes up.
Yeah, some notable guys that have been playing out of their mind lately are J.J. Bleday, who's third in the league in doubles. On this horrible Oakland A's team, he's third in the league in doubles. He's playing the outfield almost every day. I really like his game.
It sucks because, he hits all these doubles, but we don't have anybody on anytime when he hits the doubles.
Yeah.
We can't drive in any runs. It's tough.
Yeah. But the offense has looked better in July, obviously. Lawrence Butler won Player of the Week, and since July 2nd, the home run leaders in the MLB are number 1, Brent Rooker with 13, and Lawrence Butler is number 3 with 10 of them.
Yeah, having Brent Rooker here, that's a great, just motivation push for our team for sure. 28 home runs is nuts for this team, and he didn't get selected for an All-Star, almost 100 RBIs.
Yeah, I'm really happy they didn't trade him, honestly.
Oh, no. Yeah,
Next year, we're going to see him in SAC,
Yep.
and I think he's
Fingers crossed, hopefully.
Fingers
Hopefully
crossed.
he's still here.
He's going to be hitting it out of the ballpark here in Rayleigh Field.
I won't say too far because, the Rivercat Stadium, I will say, is are only maybe 5 feet bigger than the right field for the Yankee Stadium.
Oh.
So, the Yankee Stadium is smaller than...
Super small.
Yeah. So it's going to be exciting watching these big caliber players play on this small little field.
Yeah, I do think next year that the A's can be good. I think I'm putting it in now. I think next year is going to be one of those runs, like a 2012, and one of those years that all these young guys come together and they have a lot of chemistry.
I agree.
The pitching staff has looked better as well.
We traded 2 of our older pitchers.
Paul Blackburn gone.
Yeah. We got 6 different prospects though for 2 different pitchers that we traded.
Yeah.
So we're really building for the future, and hopefully the future is here in Sacramento.
Yeah, I agree. But another guy that the A's, their pitching staff has looked really well. I saw JP Sears. JP Sears pitched the other day. He did really well.
He did really well. Yeah, against the Giants, he shut him out.
Yeah.
It sucks because whenever I'm watching him, it's either a great shutout game or maybe a few hits and a run.
Yeah.
Or he gets nuked off of.
Oh.
So it's a little tough. He doesn't have that kind of just consistent game on. Yeah. I do really like him though. I like him.
I do like him too.
And then Mason Miller just came back from injury too.
Yep.
After punching a table. After they won the game too, he came out frustrated. They still won the game, and he punched a training table. And
that's
broke
how
his hand.
you know you're good.
Yeah.
If you're that mad, even after you successfully win the game and close it out, and you're still mad because you probably gave up a walk or something like that, and you're just that mad. That just shows how good he is and how good he's going to continue being.
Yeah. Very glad he didn't get traded either.
Yeah, but before we close out, we have to give some love to San Francisco Giants pitcher Blake Snell for throwing a no-hitter the other day.
Yeah.
And he's finally been pitching well after struggling in his first starts with the Giants, also coming into the year out of shape. He even said that himself. He was out of shape coming in after winning Cy Young last year. But
it's a little tough. It's weird, kind of just back and forth, but it's good to see him kind of getting in his groove a little bit. He has had a rough year this year in SF, but maybe this thing will kind of get his confidence boost back up. Yeah,
and Logan Webb has also been pitching a lot better lately. He's had a kind of up and down year as well.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of talk lately, if the Giants make the playoffs, which they're only 4.5 back of the wild card right now, their rotation is really scary for a playoff series.
Yeah, no, they go deep for sure.
Yeah.
And then hopefully their bats can stay hot.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that they make a push just to have some excitement in the Bay Area, Sacramento area for some baseball. But, we'll see about that in the future. But before we close out, anything you want to say?
Got to shout out Land Park Pacific Little League.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they got eliminated down in San Bernardino. But, shout out them.
Good. Beam City Sports, Tyler Texeira, Luke Mitchell, and we're signing off. Thank you.
Deuces.